TimReynolds race review and race preview for the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series. Thank you everybody for hanging out here on Tim Reynolds Show. Please make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe to the channel to help support my YouTube channel. Thank you guys so much, man. And hey, we're doing our 2025 NASCAR Cup Series race review for the race in Homestead, Miami Speedway, where we've seen an incredible finish where the number 5 Chevy, driven by Kyle Larson, made it across the finish line and back into victory lane as Kyle Larson gets his first victory of the young 2025 NASCAR Cup Series season. What an incredible finish as we've seen Kyle Larson get into the wall several times throughout this race, but he was able to overcome that with the aggressive driving that he was doing all race long. As we've seen Kyle Larson really worked most of the track, but he kept his car near the top, right up next to the wall, to carry as much speed as possible into these corners on this Homestead Miami Super Speedway. I should say Speedway, but man, this was an incredible race. Congratulations to Kyle Larson, who gets the win. This is a huge win for him, the first win of the year for him and the Hendrick Motorsports number 5 Chevy Racing team, and this is big for him because now this puts Kyle Larson back into the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. He's back in the playoffs, and this should be one hell of a year for Kyle Larson. A good finish for him, and we've seen throughout this race a really competitive back and forth race from a lot of drivers. As we'll get here to some of the main points here, as we see Kyle Larson was able to pass Alex Bowman with 6 laps remaining to win here in the NASCAR Cup Series at Homestead Miami Speedway. And any given Sunday, we could see any of these Hendrick Motorsports drivers really contend for the win, and it was nice to see 2 of them here at the finish. But man, Alex Bowman unfortunately just got too loose and into the wall, trying to race aggressive and keep the lead away from Kyle Larson, but unfortunately that would not be enough as we see Kyle Larson passes by his teammate Alex Bowman, driver of the number 48 Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports, and he gets the win, his first win of the year in the number 5 Chevrolet. We also see here going across, we see that this past weekend was pretty competitive, not only in the Xfinity Series, but also in the Truck Series race, as we see a lot of other drivers had a decent finish here throughout this race, but we also see the pit stops made a big difference here for a lot of drivers. Unfortunately, too sloppy in the pits for a lot of guys, unfortunately for that, as we also see some mishaps on pit road. At lap 84, Josh Berry's number 21 Ford was hit in the wrong direction of Larson's car and then hit by Joey Logano, driver of the number 22 Ford Mustang, and unfortunately there, that really messed up his day. We also seen Chase Elliott, driver of the number 9 Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports, unfortunately also have a mishap and a pit road penalty, which he had to come and do a pass-through with, and that really halted his day throughout here on this NASCAR Cup Series race from Homestead Miami Speedway. What's going on, Hunter? Thank you everybody for hanging out in the chat. Make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, and welcome to my 2025 NASCAR Cup Series race review for Homestead Miami Speedway. And guys, we're going to be previewing the NASCAR Cup Series race here in 2025 for Martinsville Speedway coming up later today. And guys, don't forget to come hang out on Tim Reynolds Show for my live play-by-play for the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series race review. Thank you guys so much, man. Yeah, I'll be doing my race play-by-play for Martinsville later today for the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series. All right, guys, so going over, we also see an unfortunate mishap for Ryan Blaney, who was running very, very well at Homestead Miami Speedway, and the driver of the number 12 Ford Mustang unfortunately suffers a blown engine, which means he did not be able to finish this race. A tough break for him after he was looking like one of the fast cars throughout this race at Homestead Miami Speedway, and Ryan Blaney and their number 12 Ford Racing team for Penske Racing have not had much luck this year, so they're hoping to turn their luck around coming up this weekend and this Sunday today for Martinsville Speedway. We also see some other notable drivers. Bubba Wallace, driver of the number 23 Toyota Ford 2311, finished third after leading 56 laps today. So a good run for Bubba Wallace, who really needed it after he's been struggling early on throughout this 2025 NASCAR Cup Series season. We also see with the most laps led, that's his most laps led in a race since September of 2023. And we also see Joe Gibbs Racing teammates Chase Briscoe and Denny Hamlin were able to round out the top top 5 here of this race at Homestead Miami Speedway. We also see that we found out some future for Homestead Miami Speedway, as we see some of the drivers would like to see Homestead return to the postseason on this mile-and-a-half track that's very competitive. But unfortunately, we may not see it for a while, but I do hear some rumors that NASCAR could be willing to move the championship race back to Homestead Miami Speedway, depending on what happens with negotiations there. So, guys, we'll go over the top 10 here for the results here at this racetrack here at Miami, at Homestead Miami Speedway. Like we mentioned, Kyle Larson is able to win the race. Alex Bowman in second in the number 48 Chevrolet, his teammate. Bubba Wallace in the number 23 Toyota finishes third. Chase Briscoe in the number 19 Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing, and his Joe Gibbs Racing teammate Denny Hamlin, driver of the number 11 Toyota, round out the top 5 for the finish at Homestead Miami Speedway. And we see rounding out the top 10, Chris Buescher, a driver of the number 17 Ford, ends up finishing 6th, a nice finish for him. And we also see AJ Allmendinger finishes 7th in his number 16 Chevrolet, a very good finish for AJ Allmendinger. Thank you everybody for hanging out here on Tim Reynolds Show. Please make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, and welcome to my 2025 NASCAR Cup Series race review of Homestead Miami Speedway. All right, so guys, we're rounding out the top 10 here. In number 8, we see Tyler Reddick, a good finish for him, as we see both teammates for 2311 Racing finish inside the top 10, as we see Tyler Reddick, driver of the number 45 Toyota, finishes 8th, or I should say 9th here at Homestead Miami Speedway. And we round out the top 10 as I should say 8th there, and Ryan Preece, driver of the number 60 Ford Mustang, rounds out the top 9 as he finishes 9th here for RFK Racing. And Justin Haley, I believe this is his first top 10 finish of the year, as he finishes 10th in his number 7 Chevrolet. An awesome finish for Justin Haley. Some other notable drivers to mention outside of the top 10, we see William Byron was able to finish 12th in his number 24 Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports. A nice finish for him as he keeps up near the top of the point standings. We also see Austin Dillon, a nice finish for him, 13th here at Homestead Miami Speedway in his number 3 Chevrolet. He's definitely got to get things going for him, and RCR, Richard Childress Racing, definitely need to get things going there for that team throughout this season. Other notable finishes, we see Joey Logano was able to overcome some mishaps in pit road and still was able to get a top 15 finish as he finishes 14th in his number 22 Ford Mustang. We also see some other notable finishes there. We have Josh Berry, driver of the number 21 Ford Mustang, finishes 17th. Chase Elliott finishes 18th in his number 9 Chevrolet. Austin Cindric in the number 2 Ford Mustang finishes 19th, and that's a pretty good finish for them. And that's rounding out the top 5 there. Some drivers that really did not have a good day. We see Christopher Bell, who actually started out a very, very good competitive racer, unfortunately has his worst day or worst race of the year as he finishes 29th in this one in his number 20 Toyota. So we'll hopefully see some better racing from him going forward. But going into Martinsville Speedway, we see Christopher Bell is the pole sitter for this 2025 NASCAR Cup Series race at Martinsville Speedway. And that's where we'll head to next, guys, as we see the NASCAR is heading to Martinsville, which is a paperclip style racetrack, a short racetrack, and we see a lot of competitive driving, and we've seen 7 top 10 finishes for Christopher Bell going into this race as well on these short tracks. These short tracks bring a lot of competitive racing from these NASCAR Cup Series drivers, and we're actually going to see a softer tire compound for Goodyear for these next gen NASCAR Cup Series cars. So hopefully we'll be able to see a lot more grip for these tires and these race cars here at Martinsville. Now, on this paperclip type racetrack, the reason why they call it a paperclip is because we have 2 long straightaways and 2 sort of rounded corners on almost a flat track. But when you're standing on the corners, there is some slight banking, believe it or not, to help with some grip and the turning of these corners. But man, we see a lot of bumping and racing at this racetrack here at Martinsville Speedway. And we see Christopher Bell is looking for his 4th win this year as he gets the pole here for this race at Martinsville Speedway. as we'll go over here, guys, going over the qualifying here for the top, for all the top drivers here on the NASCAR Cup Series. We see Christopher Bell obviously was able to get the pole here in his number 20 Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing. We see Chase Elliott qualify second, and he'll be on the front row here at this Cup Series race at Martinsville Speedway. Chase Elliott tends to run pretty well here at Martinsville, so we'll see what he's able to do being on the front row here in second place after qualifying for the driver of the number 9 Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports. A nice qualifying position for him. We also see his Hendrick Motorsports teammates qualified right behind him in third and fourth. We also see in third, Alex Bowman, driver of the number 48 Chevrolet, qualified third here for Hendrick Motorsports, and their teammate Kyle Larson, driver of the number 5 Chevrolet and last week's winner at Homestead Miami Speedway, qualifies inside the top 5 in fourth place. We see rounding out the top 5, Denny Hamlin, driver of the number 11 Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing, and the teammate of Christopher Bell, rounds out the top 5 here as Denny Hamlin qualifies 5th for this race here at Martinsville Speedway. And Denny Hamlin is definitely one of these guys who knows how to win here at Martinsville, so he'll be a guy to look out for and keep your eyes out on, because Denny Hamlin, the veteran, really knows how to get around this racetrack here, and short track racing is definitely one of his specialties. But Denny Hamlin's good at just about anywhere we go, but especially at Martinsville. And guys, one of the cool things here about Martinsville is the winner, when you get to victory lane, you don't just get a trophy, you get a grandfather clock. I mean, guys, this thing is huge, dude. A tall grandfather clock, which is really, really awesome. So I can't wait to see who's able to make it across the finish line at the end of this race and make it into victory lane and win that grandfather clock here for the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series race at Martinsville Speedway. It should be one heck of a race. So guys, we'll go in here, going into the top 10 in qualifying. We've already given you guys the top 5. So qualifying in 6th position, we see it's Chris Buescher, driver of the number 17 Ford Mustang for RFK Racing. A nice qualifying position here for Chris Buescher, who's finishing a little bit better over the last few races. After we seen last week at Homestead Miami Speedway, we seen a very nice finish for the driver of the number 17 Ford, as Chris Buescher was able to finish 6th at Homestead Miami Speedway. So a very nice finish for him as he qualifies 6th here at Martinsville. Now we know he's a very competitive racer, but I don't know how well he actually is at Martinsville. Kind of maybe a hit or miss, if you will, with Chris Buescher, but a good qualifying position for him. And you want to be near the front here at Martinsville because it's hard to pass, believe it or not. And you're going to see a lot of cautions too with this short track racing at Martinsville Speedway. All right, guys, qualifying in 7th is Joey Logano, driver of the number 22 Ford Mustang for Penske Racing. And Joey's looking to turn his season around a little bit. He's been leading a lot of laps this year, but has yet to really make it into victory lane or done anything really to get close to there. Leading a lot of laps, but unfortunately having too many mistakes, whether it's in pit lane or on the racetrack, getting involved in some accidents or some wrecks. And because of that, he's definitely going to have to take this qualifying position of 7th and hopefully get himself not only a top 10 finish here, but hopefully be able to qualify or contend for that win here at Martinsville Speedway. Now, we know Joey Logano is one of the more aggressive drivers here in the NASCAR Cup Series, and him being a veteran and a 3-time champion in the Cup Series, look out for Joey Logano at this race with this great qualifying spot here in 7th. And we also see Bubba Wallace, who had a great race last week at Homestead Miami Speedway, not only leading his most laps since back in 2023, but also getting a nice finish inside the top 5, finishing 3rd in his number 23 Toyota for 2311 Racing. But we see he's got a nice qualifying position here to start out this race at Martinsville Speedway, as we see Bubba Wallace qualifies 8th in his number 23 Toyota. A nice qualifying position here for Bubba Wallace, who's looking to continue and stay on a hot streak here as we head into Martinsville Speedway. Now, Bubba Wallace is definitely one of the more aggressive drivers on the NASCAR Cup Cup Series track. But when you're on this short track racing, you're going to have to show a lot more patience and resilience in order for you to make it all the way to the end and not get caught up in an unnecessary wreck by making too unnecessary moves or too many aggressive moves here on this short racetrack. So good luck to Bubba Wallace, a nice qualifying spot at 8th. And we see his teammate, Tyler Reddick, driver of the number 45 Toyota for 2311 Racing, qualifies 9th here at this track here at Martinsville Speedway. Now, we know Tyler Reddick has been up and down throughout this season thus far, but he's always a contender at these short tracks, as he definitely looks like one of the more cleaner and also one of the faster drivers here when we come to this short track style of racing. So we'll see what Tyler Reddick is able to do with this 9th qualifying position here. And we also see right behind him, rounding out the top 10, we see William Byron, driver of the number 24 Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports, will round out the top 10 here after qualifying. A nice qualifying spot for William Byron. But guys, let's get back to last week's winner, as we seen Kyle Larson, who is also a serious contender to win here at Martinsville. He's won here at this racetrack before, but last week, Kyle Larson made history in the NASCAR Cup Series as he became the 30th driver ever in the NASCAR Cup Series to have 30 career wins. Congratulations to the driver of the number 5 Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports, as Kyle Larson now has himself as one of the best drivers ever in the history of NASCAR Cup Series racing, and he's definitely proved it on the track, also overcoming a lot off the track to make it back on the track in the NASCAR Cup Series, and now he's proven himself to be one of the best NASCAR Cup Series drivers right now in the sport, but also in the history of NASCAR Cup Series racing. And he's a serious contender here at Martinsville at a racetrack that he definitely knows how to race well, winning here last year, actually getting the victory over his teammate Alex Bowman, just like he did last week at Homestead Miami Speedway. So this is going to be a very, very interesting race here at Martinsville as we go short track racing for the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series. This should be one hell of a race, and I can't wait to check it out, guys. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out here on Tim Reynolds Show. Please make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Appreciate you guys. All right, so we'll go to some notable people that qualified outside the top 10 to keep an eye out on here at Martinsville Speedway. Some of these guys could be serious contenders here at Martinsville Speedway, or are short track, I guess I should say, specialists, so look out for them. And we'll go ahead and start with Chase Briscoe. He qualifies 11th in his number 19 Toyota, as we see a lot of the Toyotas have qualified really, really well here for Martinsville, and Toyotas always seem to be fast at these short track races as well. So we'll see what Chase Briscoe can do here, who's also a very good short track racer, believe it or not. But the guy right behind him is the guy who I'm rooting for, man. Kyle Busch, driver of the number 8 Chevrolet for Richard Childress Racing, as RCR really tries to get back on foot here and on track here early on in the season, in the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series season. And Kyle Busch is looking to get back into victory lane, but this is a short track specialist, guys, as Kyle Busch has really been one of the better drivers on short track racing. We know what he's been able to do at Bristol and Martinsville. I believe he's won there before. So Kyle Busch is definitely a guy that could be a serious contender for this NASCAR Cup Series race at Martinsville Speedway. We're going short track racing, so Kyle Busch is always going to be a contender and a guy to look out for. So I'm going to keep my eye out on the number 8 Chevrolet, and let's see what Kyle Busch, the veteran, has to do amongst all these young guns that are starting to get into victory lane here. We know that Kyle Busch is dying to get back into victory lane. And congratulations to Kyle Larson, the 2023 Martinsville Spring winner in 2023. He will definitely have a good qualifying spot, qualifying 4th here in his number 5 Chevrolet. All right, guys, so going right after that, congratulations to Ty Gibbs, the driver of the number 54 Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing, qualifies 13th, a really, really good qualifying position for him. And we see Kyle Larson ranks inside his first 150 starts with wins at 24, second, top 5s with 66, second, and then in top 10s, 85. He's 3rd all-time in his first 150 starts. Congratulations to Kyle Larson, man, as he's making milestone after milestone, especially after that big win last week in Miami. Look out for Kyle Larson here at Martinsville Speedway, as we see he has finished top 6 in the last 5 Martinsville races, and he also won the spring race back in 2023 here at Martinsville Speedway. So look out for Kyle Larson. All right, guys, so like I said, congratulations to Ty Gibbs. He's had a rough year thus far, the driver of the number 54 Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing. So qualifying 13th. Hopefully, Ty Gibbs can get a top 15, possibly a top 10 finish here with this qualifying position. Josh Berry, a winner here this year in the NASCAR Cup Series, qualifies 14th in his number 21 Ford Mustang. A great qualifying position for him. Let's see, we go throughout the top 20. We also see Ross Chastain, driver of the number 1 Chevrolet for Trackhouse Racing. A very good qualifying position for him in 17th. He's aggressive here on these short tracks, so I imagine 17th is good for him. He can stay in the back a little bit as we start this racetrack, and as we go to the end of this race, look out for Ross Chastain to definitely be one of those guys. As long as he can keep his car out of the wall and out of the back bumper or front bumper of other drivers, he should have a chance here in this one. Also look out Austin Dillon, driver of the number 3 Chevrolet for RCR Racing. He qualifies 18th. He definitely knows how to get his way around Martinsville. But hey, look out for William Byron, who's a 2-time Martinsville winner here, driver of the number 24 Chevrolet. As we see, William Byron qualified 10th. He could be a serious contender here as well at this racetrack. And Austin Dillon, a Chevy partner, if you will, should have a chance here at 18th to have a chance to get inside the top 15 with a good finish here. All right, so some other drivers had some bad qualifying efforts here, but maybe not guys that we'd look at as some short track racers to really be contenders here. Although Austin Cindric does qualify in the 20th position in the number 2 Ford Mustang. They're usually fast here at these short tracks like Martinsville. Penske Racing always seems to have these cars ready to go, but Austin Cindric hasn't really proved himself to be a short track racer as of yet. So we'll see what that means. But thank you everybody for hanging out here on Tim Reynolds Show. Please make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And welcome to my 2025 NASCAR Cup Series race preview for Martinsville Speedway. Now, we already did my 2025 NASCAR Cup Series race review of Homestead Miami Speedway. A great race last week as we seen Kyle Larson make history in the NASCAR Cup Series. Congratulations to him, as he's proven to be one of the best Cup Series drivers now so far in NASCAR, but also in the history of NASCAR Cup Series racing. So guys, going to Martinsville Speedway, a couple of things to keep track of here. They called this racetrack the paperclip because it's got long straightaways and narrow turns, but we see a lot of aggressive racing here at Martinsville, and we did find out and hear reports that we will have a softer, more grippier tire here from Goodyear for these guys here at Martinsville Speedway, which should definitely give us a lot more competitive racing. But man, even though when we're at these short tracks, you would say it's almost anybody's race because we're at a short track, right? But what we see is a lot of different things come into play here, not only with wrecks, but also with pit stops and also with lapped cars, because we will eventually see some of the faster cars be able to get towards the end of the line, where some of these drivers who cannot keep up will get lapped, and they will play a big part into how we'll see who wins and how this racetrack and how this race is finished here at Martinsville Speedway. So it should be very interesting. Hi, chat. Thanks for hanging out here on Tim Reynolds Show. Hope you guys are having a great Sunday. Appreciate you guys hanging out here on the show. Don't forget, guys, to please like and subscribe to the channel. Appreciate you guys hanging out here for my 2025 NASCAR Cup Series race preview for Martinsville Speedway. All right, guys, so just make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Now, Martinsville is a short track, so what's going to really play a big part is how much the drivers overuse the tires, overrun the tires, because there's only going to be so long of a run that you're going to be having on these new tires when you come and get new tires in the pits. Now, pits are going to be crucial here for a lot of these Cup Series teams, because if you're not able to get in and out of the pits not only cleanly but fast, you are not going to be able to contend here, as we see drivers like Chase Elliott, driver of the number 9 Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports, was a 2020 Martinsville fall winner here. He's starting second on the front row, and he could be a serious contender here for this race at Martinsville Speedway. But the pit crews are definitely going to play a big part into who's able to win this race at the end, because just one or two mistakes on pit road could cost you quite a bit of spots at this racetrack at Martinsville Speedway. Because one of the interesting things here is that you actually see pit stops on both sides of the racetrack here. So this is one of the most unique pit lanes, if you will, in the NASCAR Cup Series. And man, these Hendrick Motorsports boys, they know how to win, especially here at Martinsville. This is a famous racetrack for Hendrick Motorsports, and man, look out for their drivers to have serious chances at winning this race, after we've seen Alex Bowman, driver of the number 48 Chevrolet, almost win last week at Homestead Miami Speedway. But we've also seen him race very, very well and win here at Martinsville before. So look out for that number 48 Chevrolet, who's usually fast, and we know these drivers love winning that grandfather clock. But also, we got to look out for Kyle Larson, who made history last week in the NASCAR Cup Series, as he has 30 wins in his NASCAR Cup Series career and becomes only the 30th driver ever with 30 career wins in the NASCAR Cup Series. And we know that his number 5 Chevrolet will be fast here, as Hendrick Motorsports definitely has this car fired up and ready to go, with him starting 4th here for this Martinsville Speedway race. And he's won here before also at Martinsville, so look out for Kyle Larson. But let's not forget about William Byron, driver of the number 24 Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports. He has a serious chance of winning this race at Martinsville as well. His number 24 Chevrolet has been fast all year long, and we know William Byron is good at just about any racetrack, but especially here short track racing at Martinsville. But we'll have to see how the pit crews really play a big part for William Byron, who needs to be able to communicate properly with his crew chief to be able to get the adjustments that he will need throughout this race, like most of these drivers will, because we will see a very grippy racetrack here with a new grippier tire that Goodyear is giving these NASCAR Cup Series drivers with this new next-gen car. And it should be very interesting to see what happens here in the NASCAR 2025 Cup Series race at Martinsville. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out here on Tim Reynolds Show. Make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Oh, man. Can't wait. This race is going to be so exciting. Anytime that we go short track racing for the NASCAR Cup Series, it's always exciting to watch. And hey, anytime you can see the boys go to Martinsville Speedway, this is one of the better racetracks for NASCAR Cup Series. I'm not a huge short track racing fan, but it's exciting to watch, as we see Chase Elliott has 12 top 10 finishes here at Martinsville, and it's the most of any track that he has raced throughout the season or throughout his career in the NASCAR Cup Series. So Chase Elliott could definitely be a serious contender here at this race. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out. Appreciate you guys chilling here on Tim Reynolds Show. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. All right, guys. So some sleepers maybe to look at here. Some guys to maybe look at. So Ryan Blaney, a terrible qualifying effort here, as he qualifies 32nd in his number 12 Ford Mustang for Penske Racing. But Ryan Blaney always seems to get up towards the front here at Martinsville or at these short tracks. He's always a fast car, and he's been fast all year long, but just unfortunately hasn't caught as many good breaks as he would like. So look out for Ryan Blaney. He's a sleeper, especially starting in the 32nd position here after qualifying here for Martinsville Speedway. Look out for him at this race. Shane Van Gisbergen, maybe a guy to look out for in the number 88 Chevrolet for Trackhouse Racing. A guy that he's known for being more of a street racer, if you will, but I really think that Martinsville could be one of those tracks that plays right into his wheelhouse, where he could maybe have a chance to get a top 15, maybe even a top 20 finish here, as he qualifies 33rd. So that would actually be a very good day for him in the number 88 Chevrolet racing team for Trackhouse Racing. All right, so some other guys maybe to look out here towards the front who could be serious contenders. I like Kyle Busch. I think he's raring to get back into victory lane, but we'll have to see what he's able to do in his number 8 Chevrolet for Richard Childress Racing, who are looking to really get back on track here early on in this 2025 NASCAR Cup Series season. But especially after yesterday, when we seen that Richard Childress Racing got their 100th career win in the Xfinity Series. Congratulations to RCR, to Richard Childress Racing, a huge accomplishment for them and their NASCAR racing team. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for hanging out here on Tim Reynolds Show. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Appreciate your racing fans as we're here for my NASCAR race preview for Martinsville Speedway for the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series. So yeah, guys, I really like Kyle Busch's chances. I really want to see him back into victory lane. But Chase Briscoe, he qualifies 11th in his number 19 Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing. These Toyotas always seem to be fast here at Martinsville, and look out for them because actually right now we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 Toyotas qualify inside the top 15, so you know that the Toyotas are going to be very serious here at Martinsville, so look out for them. I like Chase Briscoe's chances. He's a little bit more of an aggressive driver, so look out for him. William Byron, who's won here before and has raced well here before at Martinsville, look out for him in the number 24 Chevrolet. All the Hendrick Motorsports drivers are serious contenders here at Martinsville. As we see, he qualifies 10th, and we see the other top 3, I should say the other 3 Hendrick Motorsports drivers qualify inside the top 4, as Kyle Larson qualifies 4th in his number 5 Chevrolet after he won last week at Homestead Miami Speedway. We see Alex Bowman, driver of the number 48 Chevrolet, qualifies 3rd. He could definitely be a serious contender here for the win. He's won here before, just like Kyle Larson. And Chase Elliott, who's also won here before at Martinsville, qualifies on the front row in 2nd in his number 9 Chevrolet. So it should be very, very interesting to see what happens. I'm definitely rooting for Hendrick Motorsports. You see right here, guys, got it on the jacket, got it on the hat. I'm a big Hendrick Motorsports guy. I love rooting for the Chevys. The Chevys could definitely be serious contenders here, but we got to watch out for the Toyotas. Christopher Bell qualifies on the pole. He's already had a 3-race win streak this season, and after finishing one of his worst finishes last week at Miami in 29th, Christopher Bell is definitely looking to step his game up, and he qualifies on the pole here with that number 20 Toyota. As fast as it was in qualifying, he could be a serious contender to get his 4th win of the year early on here in the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series season. Please make sure you guys smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and welcome to my 2025 NASCAR Cup Series race preview. So guys, here at Martinsville, like I say, Christopher Bell, the Toyotas could be serious contenders. Denny Hamlin, who qualified 5th here in his number 11 Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing, is always a serious contender here at Martinsville. He's very, very fast at Martinsville Speedway, so look out for Denny Hamlin. I definitely think he's got a really good chance to win here. We see 2 Toyotas right behind him in 6th and 7th with Chris Buescher, the number 17 Ford Mustang in 6th, Joey Logano, and the number 22 Ford Mustang in 7th. Bubba Wallace, now another Toyota here in the 8th place position in the number 23 Toyota, could be a serious contender as well, although I don't believe he's had a win here at Martinsville, and I don't think Tyler Reddick has either, the driver of the number 45 Toyota who qualified 9th. But these guys have fast cars here qualifying inside the top 10, and Toyota seems to be very, very fast here at Martinsville Speedway for this race here in 2025. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited to see it. We're going to see a lot of rubbing and racing, a lot of rough racing here from these NASCAR Cup Series drivers, and it's going to be crazy. What's going on? Thank you, Dispo. What's going on? Shout out to the chat. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out here on Tim Reynolds Show. Don't forget to smash that like button, guys, and subscribe to the channel. So yeah, guys, it's really going to be interesting. The Toyotas and the Chevys are the cars to look out for here at Martinsville. I really do think so. For me, if I got to go, like I said, my sleeper pick, if I'm going with the sleeper pick, I think I'm going to go with Kyle Busch. I guess not really much of a sleeper pick, right? The veteran himself, but him qualifying 12th, he's always a very, very good short track racer. I think he's got a serious chance, but I'll also go with two sleepers. Let's go with two. I think Chase Briscoe is also definitely a sleeper to look out for in his number 19 Toyota, as these Toyotas look like they're fast here at Martinsville. And as far as my guy who I think is going to win it, I got to go with my guy, Chase Elliott. That's right. I know I've picked him a couple times this year, but he is due, and especially with how good these Hendrick Motorsports cars have been driving as of late, I gotta go with my guy. I gotta go with Chase Elliott. And man, I gotta get me a number 9 Chevrolet Napa racing hat. You know what I'm saying? That's gonna be a very, very good win for him if Chase Elliott can make it back into victory lane. Obviously, you gotta watch out for the rest of his teammates, Alex Bowman, Kyle Larson, William Byron. All of them have a chance to win this race. I would not surprise me to see any one of them in victory lane. But you got to also watch out for the Toyotas. Christopher Bell, the number 20 Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing, and then Denny Hamlin, the number 11 Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing. Both of them should definitely be serious contenders here at this racetrack. And you know Denny Hamlin's dying to get into victory lane, and we'll have to see what he's able to do here. But thank you everybody for hanging out here on Tim Reynolds Show. Appreciate all the love. Thank you guys. What's going on, cuz? Thanks for hanging out here, man. Appreciate you guys. And we'll be going live here shortly for this NASCAR Cup Series race with my live play-by-play for the NASCAR 2025 Cup Series race at Martinsville Speedway. We're going short track racing, boys. So please make sure you guys come and tune in to Tim Reynolds Show and hang out with us on the channel. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate all the love. Don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and come hang out with my Tim Reynolds Show with our live play-by-play for the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series race at Martinsville Speedway. It's going to be awesome. Thank you guys so much. Peace out, everybody. Have a great day.